The hidden message. In the bustling city of Rivertown, there was a famous old library filled with ancient books and hidden secrets. Among the shelves worked Emma, a young and curious librarian. One day, while sorting through a pile of dusty books, she stumbled upon a peculiar, leather-bound journal. Its pages were filled with strange symbols and cryptic messages. Intrigued, Emma decided to decode the mysterious writings. She spent days researching, studying the symbols, and piecing together the puzzle. One night, she discovered that the journal contained a hidden message leading to a secret room within the library. Following the clues, Emma found a hidden door behind a bookshelf. Her heart raced as she opened it, revealing a small, forgotten room filled with ancient artifacts and a chest. Inside the chest, she found old maps, valuable coins, and a letter from a long-lost explorer who had hidden his treasures to protect them. Emma's discovery made headlines, turning the library into a popular destination for treasure hunters and history enthusiasts. She became a local hero, known for her curiosity and determination. Life lesson: curiosity and perseverance can lead to amazing discoveries. English lesson: vocabulary: bustling, peculiar, cryptic, decode, clues, artifacts, explorer, grammar, simple past tense, worked, stumbled, spent, found, opened.
The silent visitor. Emma wanted to relax. She had been working hard and needed a break, so she booked a small hotel in the countryside. The place was quiet and peaceful. Only a few guests were there. Her room was on the second floor. It was clean, but old. The walls were thin, and the lights flickered sometimes. The first night, everything was fine. She read a book, drank some tea, and went to bed early. On the second night, strange things started happening. At 11 p.m., she heard it. It came from the room next door. Emma walked to her door and listened. Silence. She slowly opened her door. The hallway was empty. No sound, no people. She went back inside, a little confused. Then, her phone buzzed. Message from unknown number. Don't open the door. Emma's hands began to shake. Who sent this? How did they know? She checked the door. It was locked. She closed the curtains and turned off the lights. Then another noise. This time, it was coming from her door. She stared at it, not moving. Her phone buzzed again. It's not outside. It's in the room. Her breath stopped. She turned slowly, her eyes scanning the room. Then she saw it. The closet door was slightly open. She picked up a lamp and walked toward it. Step by step, she reached out, touched the door, and pulled it wide open. Inside was only a tall mirror. She looked into it. Her reflection was there, but something was wrong. The woman in the mirror was smiling. Emma was not. The Curse of Aegean. In the ancient city of Aegean, King Miras ruled with unmatched power. His empire stretched across vast lands, and his name was spoken with fear and reverence. But with power came arrogance, and Miras believed himself untouchable even by the gods. One fateful day, a messenger from the gods appeared, warning Miras that his greed and pride had angered the divine. The king laughed in the face of the warning, boasting that no god could strip him of his power. That night, a storm unlike any other swept through the city, and Miras' most prized possession, the Pearl of the Gods, was stolen from his vault. Furious, Myers set out to find the thief, journeying to the farthest corners of his kingdom. His quest led him to the underworld, where he stood before the goddess of the dead. She revealed the truth. The pearl had not been stolen, it had been taken by the gods themselves as a punishment for his hubris. Myras, desperate to save his kingdom, offered his life in exchange for the pearl's return. The goddess agreed, but not without a final lesson. Power without wisdom leads only to ruin, she said. The king's sacrifice saved his city, but he was lost to the underworld, remembered not for his conquests, but for his tragic fall. The people of Aegean would tell the tale of Myras for generations, a cautionary story of pride, power, and the wrath of the gods. Life lesson: arrogance and unchecked power can lead to downfall. True strength comes from humility and wisdom. English lesson: the word hubris is derived from ancient Greek, meaning excessive pride or self-confidence, often leading to a person's downfall. It is a common theme in Greek mythology and literature.
The cooking disaster. Jake had never been much of a cook. In fact, the last time he tried to make toast, he somehow set off the smoke alarm. But tonight was special. It was his girlfriend Emma's birthday, and he was determined to surprise her with a homemade dinner. Armed with a recipe he found online, Jake set out to make spaghetti carbonara. How hard can it be? He muttered to himself as he boiled water for the pasta. The instructions seemed straightforward enough, but Jake had a talent for turning the simplest tasks into a chaotic mess. The first sign of trouble came when he tried to crack the eggs. Instead of neatly breaking them into the bowl, Jake managed to send a shower of shell fragments everywhere. "Extra crunch," he joked, fishing out the pieces with his fingers. Next came the bacon. The recipe called for it to be crispy. Jake, not one to do things halfway, cranked up the heat. Within minutes, the kitchen was filled with smoke, and the bacon was more charcoal than crispy. He opened the windows, coughing and waving a dish towel like a madman, hoping the smoke would clear before Emma arrived. But the worst was yet to come. The recipe called for a splash of cream, so Jake poured in what he thought was a reasonable amount, about half a carton. The sauce immediately turned into a soupy mess. Panicking, he decided to add more cheese to thicken it up. After dumping in an entire block of Parmesan, the sauce became a thick, gluey blob. By the time Emma arrived, Jake was a sweaty, frazzled mess, and the kitchen looked like a war zone. He sheepishly presented the meal, which now resembled a pasta sculpture more than anything edible. Emma took one look at the lumpy, congealed pile on her plate and burst out laughing. "Jake, what did you do?" she asked between giggles. "I was going for carbonara, but I think I invented a new kind of art," Jake said, trying to keep a straight face. They both dissolved into laughter, and Emma gave Jake a kiss on the cheek. "You know, we could just order pizza," she suggested. Jake sighed with relief. "Best idea I've heard all day." As they waited for the delivery, they sat on the kitchen floor, eating the least burnt pieces of bacon and laughing about Jake's culinary catastrophe. It wasn't the romantic dinner Jake had planned, but in the end, it was a night they'd always remember. Life lesson: not everything has to be perfect to be special. Sometimes the most memorable moments come from the things that go hilariously wrong. Laughter and a good sense of humor can turn even the biggest mishaps into fond memories. English lesson: idioms. turn into a chaotic mess. Describes a situation that becomes very disorganized or out of control. Extra crunch. A humorous way to describe something that is unintentionally crunchy, often due to a mistake like leaving eggshells in food. Cranked up the heat means to increase the intensity or level of something, often used literally or metaphorically. The umbrella that rained colors. Mira hated rainy days. The sky turned gray, her shoes got wet, and worse, everyone at school looked sleepy and dull. But one Tuesday morning, Mira found something strange on her doorstep. It was a folded blue umbrella with rainbow details and a wooden handle. A note was tied to it, for the one who notices color even in clouds. Mira blinked. She looked around. No one was there. The umbrella felt warm in her hand, even though the wind was cold. She took it with her to school. As she stepped outside, the gray sky began to pour. Mira opened the umbrella. Everything changed. Raindrops didn't fall in gray. They fell in color. Bright splashes of blue, green, orange, pink, and gold fell around her like a living painting. The street sparkled. Her footsteps left trails of light. People passed by, heads down, hoods up, not seeing a thing, but Mira saw it all. When she looked up through the umbrella, she saw tiny glowing shapes in the clouds, candies, boats, even tiny cakes floating in the sky. "Is it really raining like this?" she whispered. At school, she closed the umbrella before walking in. Inside, everything looked normal again, dull and gray. Her shoes were dry, but the umbrella shimmered like it held sunlight inside it. Every day, the same thing happened. If she opened the umbrella in the rain, the world filled with magic. No one else noticed. Not even her best friend, Lay. Until one day, Mira decided to try something. At lunch, she handed Lay the umbrella. "Open this when it rains," she said, "and just look up." That afternoon, it rained again. Lay opened the umbrella and gasped. Whoa! She saw it too. The colors, the fish, the glowing air. She looked at Mira and smiled wide. "You've been walking through this magic alone?" Mira laughed. "Not anymore." The next day, the umbrella was gone. Just vanished. Not in her room, not at school. But the sky stayed bright. Even when it rained, little bits of color would appear for a second. Just enough to make someone stop, smile, and wonder. And Mira? She still walks in the rain. With or without the umbrella, she remembers. Magic lives where people choose to look. Life lesson. Magic isn't always about spells. Sometimes it's about how you choose to see the world. Mira's story reminds us that wonder and beauty often hide in ordinary places. When we slow down, look closer, and stay curious, even a rainy day can become something magical. And sharing that magic makes it even more powerful.
More than quiet. Mika always sat by the window in room 2B. She liked the quiet light, the clouds passing, and the way the trees swayed outside. While others talked loudly, she drew in her sketchbook. Plants, animals, and sometimes people, never herself. Most of the class ignored her. "If you didn't, why are you always drawing?" She acts like she's in her own movie. She's so weird. They didn't say it loudly, but she heard. Especially Ella, the loudest girl in class. Always laughing, always in the middle of things. Mecca kept her head down and drew. One Monday, a new student walked in. His name was Liam. He smiled at everyone, but for some reason, he chose the seat right behind Mika. During break, he tapped her desk. "Hey, I'm Liam," he said. "That's Sketch." Is that a dragon made of flowers? Mika looked at her page and blinked. Yeah, that's awesome. No one had ever said that before. Over the next few days, Liam talked to her more. He asked about her drawings, offered her half of his sandwich at lunch, and once brought her a sticker that said, "Creative Genius." Some kids noticed, especially Ella. At first, she rolled her eyes. Then she started whispering. He's only talking to her because he feels sorry for her. Maybe she's paying him with her weird art. Mika tried to pretend she didn't hear, but it hurt. She stopped drawing in public. She avoided Liam's eyes. One day after class, Liam found her alone in the art room. "Did I do something wrong?" he asked. "No," Mika said. "Then why are you ignoring me?" She looked at the floor. "Everyone's saying you're only nice to me because you pity me. Maybe they're right?" Liam leaned against the table, thoughtful. "Can I tell you a secret?" he said. She looked up. "I used to be like Ella at my old school." Mika blinked. "I used to make fun of kids who were different, quiet kids. I thought being loud meant being strong. But then," he hesitated, "one of the kids I bullied moved away. And no one ever said goodbye, not even me. I still think about it." Mika didn't know what to say. "I promised I'd never be that kind of person again," Liam added. "So when I saw you sitting here, alone but brave enough to just be you, I didn't feel sorry. I admired you." Mika swallowed the lump in her throat. "Thank you." But things weren't over. The next day, Ella stood in front of Micah's desk during break. She crossed her arms. "So, Liam's your boyfriend now?" Mika didn't answer. "Did you draw him something to make him stay?" Mika stood up, slower than the class expected. "I didn't make him do anything," she said. "Maybe he just sees people better than you do." The room went quiet. Liam stepped beside her. "Leave her alone, Ella." But Ella just smirked. "Whatever. This is boring." She walked away. Mika sat down, hands shaking. Liam whispered, "That was awesome." Weeks passed. The whispers faded. Mika started drawing in public again, and not just alone. Other classmates began to ask questions. "Can you show me how you shade like that? Can you draw me as a hero?" Even Ella, one afternoon, left a sticky note on Micah's desk. "You're better than I thought. Sorry, Ella." Mika looked at Liam. "Should I forgive her?" she asked. "That's up to you," he said. "But I'd say yes." She smiled. "I already did." That Friday, Liam gave her something small. A tiny hand-folded paper crane with a heart drawn on its wing. He didn't say anything. He didn't have to. From then on, Mika still sat by the window. But now she was never alone. There were friends, new stories, bright pages, and Liam sitting behind her, handing her pencils, walking with her after class, and reminding her every day. Being quiet doesn't mean you're invisible. It just means you see the world in your own way, and maybe someone else sees you too. Life lesson. Kindness has the quiet power to change hearts, even the ones that seem the hardest to reach. In school and in life, people often hide pain behind their actions. When we choose to respond with empathy instead of anger, we give others a chance to grow, and sometimes they surprise us. Mika didn't fight back with words, but with quiet, strength, honesty, and courage. That's what helped her not only make a friend, but also change a bully's heart.
The magic paintbrush. In a small village at the edge of a vast forest lived a young artist named Mia. She loved painting more than anything and spent her days creating beautiful landscapes and portraits. One day, while exploring the forest for inspiration, Mia stumbled upon a hidden cave. Inside the cave, she found an old, ornate paintbrush lying on a stone pedestal. Intrigued, Mia picked it up and felt a strange energy coursing through her hand. She decided to take the paintbrush back to her studio. When Mia used the paintbrush for the first time, something magical happened. The flowers she painted began to bloom, and the birds she drew took flight. Everything she painted with the enchanted brush came to life. Mia quickly realized the incredible potential of her new tool. She painted a lush garden in her backyard, complete with colorful flowers and singing birds. The villagers were amazed and came from all around to see her miraculous creations. One day, a drought struck the village, and the crops began to wither. Remembering the power of her paintbrush, Mia painted a rainstorm over the fields. To everyone's astonishment, dark clouds gathered and rain poured down, saving the crops. The villagers celebrated Mia's gift, and she continued to use the enchanted paintbrush to bring joy and prosperity to her community. She painted a playground for the children, a forest of fruit trees, and even a beautiful lake for everyone to enjoy. Mia's art not only beautified the village but also strengthened the bond among the villagers, reminding them of the magic that exists in creativity and kindness. Life lesson: creativity and kindness can bring magic and positivity into our lives and communities. English lesson: vocabulary: ornate, pedestal, enchanted, potential, miraculous, astonishment, prosperity, creativity. Grammar: use of present perfect tense. For example, Mia has painted a lush garden. The villagers have celebrated Mia's gift.
The Silent Rebellion. The city of Icarus was a shining beacon of progress, a place where every citizen was monitored, every action controlled, and every deviation from the norm swiftly punished. The Watchers, a faceless government, ensured that no one stepped out of line. But beneath the surface, a silent rebellion brewed. Lena, a former journalist, had seen too much. She had witnessed the disappearances, the erasure of history, and the crushing of free thought. But she had remained quiet, knowing that even a whisper of dissent could mean death. That changed when her brother, Kai, was taken for questioning and never returned. Determined to find answers, Lena joined the underground rebellion. She risked everything, distributing forbidden pamphlets and hacking into the Watchers' communications. Her actions caught the attention of others, sparking a wave of quiet defiance across the city. The final confrontation came in the heart of Icarus, where Lena faced the Watchers head-on. Though she knew the rebellion would cost her life, she also knew that the spark she had ignited could not be extinguished. As Lena fell, the city rose. In the end, the silent rebellion became a roaring storm. Life lesson: even in the darkest times, one voice can spark a revolution. Change often starts with a single act of courage. English lesson: the word dystopia refers to a society where oppressive control is exercised, often under the guise of progress or utopia. It's commonly used in literature to depict a future where individual freedoms are lost.
The mysterious map. Max loved adventure and exploring new places. One afternoon, while rummaging through the attic of his old house, he stumbled upon a dusty chest. Inside, he found a rolled-up map covered in strange symbols and an old drawing of a large tree. The map seemed very old and mysterious. Eager to solve the mystery, Max decided to follow the map. The first symbol led him to the city park, where a statue of a knight holding a golden sword stood. According to the map, the next clue was hidden near this statue. He carefully examined the base of the statue and discovered a hidden compartment. Inside, there was a golden key and a note that read, "To find the next clue, go to the tallest building in the city." Max hurried to the tallest building, a skyscraper with an observation deck high above the city. Using the golden key, he unlocked a small box he found in a corner of the deck. Inside the box was a piece of parchment with a riddle. "I'm not alive, but I grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. I don't have a mouth, but water kills me. What am I?" Max thought about the riddle and realized the answer was fire. The parchment then led him to the old fire station at the edge of town. At the fire station, Max discovered an old firefighter's helmet with a secret compartment. Inside, he found a leather-bound book titled The Hidden Treasure of Brightsville. The book told a story about a treasure buried in the city, meant for someone brave and clever to find. Max was thrilled to learn that the treasure was hidden in his own backyard. That evening, Max and his family dug up the backyard and uncovered a small chest filled with old coins, jewelry, and letters from the past. Max's adventure not only revealed a hidden treasure, but also brought him closer to the history of his city and his family. Life lesson. Max's journey teaches us that curiosity and persistence can lead to great discoveries. English lesson. Pay attention to how the story uses simple sentences to describe actions. For example, Max loved adventure, and he carefully examined the base of the statue. Use straightforward language to clearly convey what is happening. Simple sentences can make a story easier to understand.
The Clever Parrot and the Locked Box. Once upon a time, in a peaceful village, there lived a curious parrot named Pico. Pico loved to listen to humans and repeat their words. But more than anything, he loved solving mysteries. One evening, a merchant came home carrying a large wooden box. The box was decorated with golden carvings and locked with a heavy key. The merchant said, "Inside this box is something very precious. Do not touch it." Of course, when Pico heard this, his big eyes grew even wider. What could be inside? Treasure? Or maybe a secret? That night, Pico overheard the merchant whisper to his wife, "The key is hidden under the stone near the well." Pico repeated softly to himself, "Key, stone, well." The next morning, when everyone was gone, Pico hopped to the well. He lifted the small stone with his beak and found the shiny key. With a flutter of wings, he flew back and opened the box. But inside there was no gold, only a letter. Pico read it aloud slowly, because he was still learning. "The real treasure is honesty. This box is a test. Whoever opens it shows their greed." Pico gasped. He quickly put the letter back, locked the box, and returned the key under the stone. When the merchant came home, he smiled knowingly at Pico. "Curiosity can be good, my little friend," he said, "but only when it leads to wisdom. not temptation. From that day on, Pico used his cleverness to teach children words and stories instead of chasing secrets. And soon, Pico became the most beloved teacher in the village. Moral of the story: true wisdom is knowing when curiosity should stop.